is Messa. Today I'm going to be talking about off-road motorcycles and basically informing you on how to make an environmentally conscious purchase next time you go to buy an off-road motorcycle. I'm going to tell you a little about myself. I've been involved in the community of off-road motorcycling for over a decade now. I've ridden both 4-stroke and 2-stroke motors and worked on them both. It's given me a lot of time to see the change in the sport and its community and its products. Over the past 5 or so years, the off-road motorcyclist riding community has become more aware of the environmental impact from the emissions given off by the motorcycles, and it has given me an opportunity to take part in this pollution education and to learn what I can do to help out. So basically, if you want to look at your handouts, I'm going to go over the two motors you're going to be looking at when you purchase, because there's only two. These are from an article I found. Gives a good description of the two motors you will be looking at. And basically your 2-stroke motor, since you guys don't know which one it is, it's going to be the one without the valving system. And the valving systems are the two little prong things. So you guys all have the right one? Let me see. Alright, everyone's got the right one. Okay. So basically, the motor itself starts out with the spark plug. You have the top end, and the little fins on the side are for cooling the motor. Then you have your bottom end and your crankshaft, which drives the piston up. And basically, on a 2-stroke motor, the reason it's called 2 strokes is because the bottom, the piston itself goes up and down once for a full revolution. On its way down, on its first stroke, on the way down, pulls the oil and gas mixture, which on a 2-stroke you mix the gas together, oil and gas together before you put it in the bike. So on its way down, it draws in the oil, fuel, and air, and then on the way back up it combusts and pushes it all back out of the exhaust. So basically that is the 2-stroke motor, fairly simple, why it was more popular. Then we have the 4-stroke motor, which is the one with the 2 prong things at the top. Everybody have that? Okay, we have the right one. So basically the difference between the two is the valving system. That is why more people go for 2 strokes, because the valving system is a more complicated motor and it's more expensive. But the 4-stroke obviously goes 4 strokes, 2 full revolutions. On the downward stroke, it will pull in the gas and the air, and on a 4-stroke you only use straight gas, no oil in the gas. So on the first stroke going down, it'll open up the intake valve, draw in the gas and the air, come back up on its second stroke, which will cause compression, and then that'll ignite, causing it to go back down its third stroke, and on its third stroke it pulls open the exhaust valve, and on its way back up on its 4th stroke it pushes out the combustion of the exhaust, or the gas and air. But basically everything else on the 4-stroke is the same, besides the valve. Any questions, anybody, so far?
No.
Okay. So the problem really with the environment is that the 2-stroke is very pollutive. In an article I found that 30% of the oil and fuel mixture that goes into the 2-stroke motor is not burned, so it goes right out into the environment, because mainly when the 2-stroke is pulling down and drawing in the oil and gas and air, it's half, the 30% of it is going into the exhaust pipe before it's even getting burned, so it's strictly just going right through the motor and right out the exhaust and not being touched at all, not being burned whatsoever. So that causes a lot of pollution. In fact, David Kushner says that 800,000 people a year die from public air pollution, and 2-strokes have, or not all of that, but are involved in that pollution. And to solve that, basically the community of off-road motorcycle has made the 4-stroke. But the reason a lot of people haven't moved on to the 4-stroke is because of the complication or the complexity of the motor, where the 2 strokes are very simple to work on. The 4 strokes really take a lot more mechanical knowledge to know what you're doing and to make them run good all the time. but the 4-strokes, really, the emissions are a lot lower, mainly because there is no oil in the gas. So the oil is in a separate part of the motor, so it's not getting thrown out into the environment. Like if you guys have ever seen a car driving down the road, it's blowing out blue smoke out of its exhaust pipe. The reason being is because these rings on the piston are beginning to wear, and that is drawing oil from the bottom end up into where the gas is combusting. So it's burning the oil like a 2-stroke and polluting the environment. That's really basically what the 2-stroke does, and the 4-stroke stops that unless you do not do the top end. Everyone good? No one has any more questions as of right now?
I have a question.
What's your question, sir?
Which one do you prefer?
I prefer myself. I right now own a 2-stroke, so I'm not helping out the environment at all. But I have owned a 4-stroke. They are a lot more fun to ride. Just the maintenance part of them are very more detailed and complex, and more money, of course, because you have to do, when you do a top end on a 2-stroke, when you do a top end, all you replace is this piston and the rings, whereas on a 4-stroke top end, you need to replace the piston rings, the valving, and the valves sit in a seat, and they have a seal, and there's also valve springs. So there's really a lot more detail to a 4-stroke motor. Basically, you have a question?
Yes. How much normally would a 4-stroke rebuild cost?
A 4-stroke rebuild compared to a 2-stroke rebuild, a 2-stroke can vary anywhere between $150 to $230, whereas a 4-stroke can range, if you have to do the valves and everything, can range to $400 plus. So the pricing is definitely a lot broader, but the 4-stroke motor does last a lot longer, whereas a 2-stroke motor, maybe every 30 hours you're supposed to do a top end, whereas a 4-stroke you can do it every year or so. Really giving you, it is more upfront, but in the long run, you're helping out the environment and, could save you money. Basically, so next time you guys want to go make your purchase, just remember our conversation we've had and think about the environment when you make your next purchase for an off-road motorcycle, and hopefully it'll be a 4-stroke. Thank you.